It is 7:30. Welcome back to Arc Salt Lake. Luigi Mangione's court hearing is underway right now. It's expected to last about a week. Mangione is being charged with assassinating United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last year. You probably remember that. It was a huge story. Anner Emerson of Criminally Obsessed is here with us today for details on the trial. And what have we seen so far that stands out, Ann?
Well, it feels like we're already, going into a major trial. And honestly, we're just in the pre-trial hearing right now. We're in suppression arguments for what is going to be really one of the biggest trials we've ever seen. I mean, it's already looking like a circus out there, and they're just trying to suppress some of the evidence right now that they have against Luigi Mangione. I mean,
a lot of it centered on his backpack, and defense attorneys say you didn't have a search warrant, so that's not admissible. But there is some incriminating evidence involved that was in that backpack.
There's a lot of really critical evidence. You're absolutely right. And we're looking at a 9mm gun that was allegedly the murder weapon. In this case, we're looking at a notebook that has these personal writings from Luigi that really outline what prosecutors want to say is tantamount to a confession, and a silencer, which would show premeditation. And, with all of that, plus all of the data they can collect off of the USB and all of this stuff that was coming out of that backpack, the defense really wants this suppressed. They're saying it's just not, there was not a search warrant. It wasn't properly conducted, and it's a major part. If the prosecution cannot hold on to this physical evidence, this is going to be an extremely hard road for them.
Well, in a situation like this, would you normally need a search warrant on a backpack like that if it's with them and you arrest him at the time?
It's such a great question, and I think there's a lot of precedent in the law right now that's going to say no. No, because they find out from this 911 call that there's somebody in there that they're describing that sounds a lot like the CEO shooter they've heard about with bushy eyebrows is literally what we heard in that 911 call yesterday. So there was this very big concern in this McDonald's that this really was possibly the shooter. They didn't know what was in this backpack. And when they got in the backpack, they found a gun. So already you're looking at immediate danger. So it's called exigent circumstances. And there's a real precedent for saying, look, we don't need a search warrant when we think that everybody in this McDonald's, including us, could be in danger. So I think that the prosecution's got a really strong case here to say, no, we don't necessarily need a warrant. However, you just never know how this judge is going to rule. So they've got to be very careful and take this very seriously.
So is the hearing this week going to decide whether that is admissible or not?
That, along with his statements that he made to police, the other big part of this is the Miranda rights and whether or not anything was violated as far as when he was read his Miranda rights, which basically says, you're being put into custody and we're going to make sure that, whatever you say is admissible into court. And they're saying right now, his defense is saying, look, we don't feel like he got his Miranda rights at the right time. And, that's also going to be a hard road for them to do. But they're fighting for Luigi Mangione's life right now. That's the truth. So if the defense is going to do whatever they can.
Okay. Does the prosecution have any evidence of how he tracked the CEO? And you mentioned a little bit of a possible confession in there, too. But do they have kind of a scenario of events that led up to the shooting?
Absolutely. I think they're making a very strong timeline, and they're going to be showing more of that over the next few days. And we don't know how long this hearing is going to take place either. Yeah, I do think that they're getting a nice timeline in place so that the judge can see how much evidence is really there and why it's so critical to moving forward for the prosecution. They just need to make sure that they didn't violate any amendment rights of Luigi Mangione. And, just to be clear, this is a very high volatile situation right now as well, because we are coming up on the 1-year anniversary of this shooting. It's going to be Thursday, and we could well be in court on that day.
Now, when it comes to Mangione, do they have evidence that did he have any personal experience or contact with the CEO? Did he have any health issues, or is this mainly kind of a political thing.
Well, as far as why did he want to go after the CEO? Sure. I mean, I think they're going to be looking at any kind of background that he had, as far as, there are things that we heard about a long time ago about the health and condition of Luigi Mangione, things that he had faced personally. Yeah, sure. I think everybody going through life is going to have healthcare concerns. And however, when you look at his what the prosecution is terming a manifesto in his personal writings, what they're saying allegedly really was his grief that he had and his gripes that he had with them. You start seeing a pattern of how he really wanted to see justice. But now here is one thing, is that we've already had the 2 charges of terrorism already thrown out. And, that really shows that this judge is looking at this from all sides. He's not just going down a pro-prosecution route at all. He's really giving it the defense a fair shake right now.
Do we know if any of Brian Thompson's family is right there watching this pretrial hearing?
Oh, I think they're going to be keeping a very close ear to all of this. He had 2 sons. He has a wife. And it's, thank you for bringing that up, because I think it's so important to remember what we're dealing with he's not just the head of a major healthcare organization. When he was killed, he was a father, and he had a wife and a family. And, as we come out of Thanksgiving, it's a really hard thought for so many people that the family is actually watching this, and the sons are growing up without a dad, and that's going to weigh heavily in this case. They are going to make this a very human aspect of not just somebody that was running a healthcare company. So it'll be interesting to see how much she actually wants to be there. I understand, there have been reports that they were actually estranged at the time of the shooting of his murder. So we don't know how much she really is going to be there, but his family's paying attention to this right now.
Absolutely. And Emerson, thank you very much. Where can people go to get more information on this and other stories that you cover?
Well, thank you. Yes, absolutely. Come to our YouTube. Please subscribe to Criminally Obsessed at YouTube. I just did a big report on this last night. We're going to be following this case all the way through, but this week especially, as we find out whether or not this evidence gets suppressed. And then look at us on socials. We're all over the place. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, wherever you are trying to follow these stories of the day.
All right,
we're there.
Am, always great talking to you. We'll be talking to you again soon. And we'll see you later.